Imagine finding out that something you do every single week in your own kitchen, something you do specifically because you are trying to be practical, trying to save money, trying not to waste food, is quietly and systematically creating the conditions for one of the deadliest cancers in the human body without you knowing. Does that sound extreme? Unfortunately, it is not. There is a habit that hundreds of millions of people repeat every week without a second thought: reheating leftovers. And the truth about what happens inside 5 very specific foods, the second time heat touches them, is something that most people will go their entire lives without ever being told. In the next few minutes, I am going to show you exactly which 5 foods are the most dangerous to reheat, what they are chemically turning into inside your body when you press that button, and why that transformation connects directly to one of the cancers with the lowest survival rates in all of modern medicine, pancreatic cancer. I am Dr. Mandell, and I am going to tell you something today that I believe every single person who cooks at home deserves to know, because I have sat across from too many patients who received a devastating diagnosis and looked at me and asked, "Why did nobody warn me about this sooner? I am done staying quiet." Now here is what you need to understand before we begin. Your pancreas never warns you. It does not hurt when it is being damaged. It does not swell. It does not send you a signal while the damage is quietly building up inside it across months and years of the wrong daily habits. By the time you feel something wrong enough to go to a doctor, the cancer has in the overwhelming majority of cases already spread beyond the point where anything meaningful can be done. The 5-year survival rate is under 12%. 12%. That number is why every single thing I'm about to show you matters so much. Because at least 3 of these 5 foods are sitting in your refrigerator right now at this exact moment waiting to be reheated tonight. Let's start with the one that I guarantee is going to shock you the most, because it is something the entire health and wellness world has been pushing you to eat more of for the past 20 years. Think about those crispy golden fries left over from last night, the ones you covered and told yourself you would finish tomorrow. That fried chicken you wrapped carefully in foil because it felt like a waste to throw it away. That leftover spring roll sitting in the corner of your fridge. What do you do the next day? You probably toss it in the microwave, or even worse, you heat a little fresh oil in the pan to crisp it up again. It is exactly at that moment that you activate a chemical process inside that food that your pancreas has almost no defense against. And here's the part that almost nobody tells you: cooking oils. Specifically, the ones most people have on their kitchen shelf right now. Sunflower oil, corn oil, soybean oil are highly unstable under heat. When you heat them a second time, they undergo deep oxidative breakdown, and that process generates a class of toxic compounds called aldehydes. The 2 most dangerous ones have names you probably cannot pronounce: 4-hydroxynonenal and malondialdehyde. But you do not need to remember the names. You just need to understand what they do to your body. Free radicals released from reheated oil are like hundreds of sparks flying off an out-of-control fire. Each one is small, flying randomly in every direction, landing on your healthy cells, destroying them from the inside, including the DNA that tells each cell how to grow, when to stop, and when to die the way it is supposed to. When that code is corrupted enough times, the cell stops following instructions. Snorts. It starts multiplying when it should not. That is how cancer begins. And here is what is terrifying. Your pancreas is one of the most vulnerable organs to this specific type of attack. When you eat food loaded with these aldehyde compounds, your body triggers a full inflammatory response to try to contain the damage. But if you are eating reheated fried food multiple times a week, and I want you to stop right now and honestly think about this: how many times did you reheat something fried just this week? Comment that number below, because here is what that habit is doing to your body every single time. Your body never gets to turn that inflammatory response off. A permanently inflamed pancreas is a pancreas trying to do delicate precision work inside a burning building. Every enzyme it tries to produce, every signal it tries to send, every cell it tries to protect, all happening in a chemical war zone it was never designed to survive in. Eventually, it cannot keep up. And when it stops keeping up, you do not get a warning. You just get a diagnosis. You might be feeling signs of this right now as you watch this, and have been completely explaining them away. A dull heaviness in your upper abdomen after meals that you keep dismissing as overeating. An unexplained fatigue that sets in specifically after you eat that you blame on a long day. A vague discomfort just below your ribs that comes and goes and that you have been calling poor digestion. It might not be poor digestion. So how do you protect yourself? First rule, absolutely non-negotiable. Never reheat fried food in oil. Not fresh oil, not the same oil. Never. Use a dry oven at 180 degrees Celsius or an air fryer. Dry heat brings back the texture without a single drop of new chemical damage. Second rule, frying oil is single-use only. Fry today, throw it away today. Because that comparison, a bottle of oil versus not getting pancreatic cancer, is the actual choice you are making every single week without even knowing you are making it. Now get ready, because the second food on this list is going to surprise you far more than the first one did. I know this because it is something I myself have recommended to patients for years, something that appears on every superfoods list ever written, something that every nutrition expert on the planet calls one of the healthiest foods you can eat. And when you reheat it, it turns into something it absolutely should not. Picture Sunday evening. You cook a beautiful pan of sautéed spinach with garlic and olive oil. Deep green, wilted perfectly. You feel genuinely good about yourself. You are being healthy. You are eating your greens. You are doing exactly what you are supposed to do. You put the leftovers in a container in the fridge. Monday lunch. You take it out and microwave it for 90 seconds. It smells exactly the same, looks exactly the same, tastes exactly the same. And while you are eating it, that second round of heat has just triggered a chemical reaction inside that spinach that the World Health Organization has officially linked the cancer risk. Here is what is happening inside that container. All leafy greens, spinach, kale, chard, arugula, all of them contain naturally occurring compounds called nitrates. Snorts. Fresh, they are completely harmless. Zero problem. But when you cook these vegetables and let them sit, bacteria naturally present in the food begin converting those harmless nitrates into something called nitrites. And when you apply heat a second time, those nitrites react with amino acids in the food and form compounds called nitrosamines. Burn that word into your head. Nitrosamines. The International Agency for Research on Cancer classifies nitrosamines as probable human carcinogens. And they are genotoxic, meaning they go directly inside the nucleus of your cells and damage your DNA. Not from the outside, but from within the genetic machinery itself. Think of your DNA as the master blueprint your body uses to build and repair everything. Nitrosamines are like someone breaking into the blueprint room every few days and quietly changing one measurement, erasing one instruction. Your repair systems catch most of it, but not all of it. Over months and years of repeated exposure, the accumulated corruptions in that blueprint start producing cells that do not behave the way they should. And here is what is terrifying about your pancreas, specifically. Once nitrosamines enter your bloodstream after that reheated spinach, they travel to every organ your blood reaches, and the pancreas is called into the detoxification effort repeatedly, week after week, bathing in genotoxic compounds, while simultaneously being forced into chronic biochemical stress. How many times this week did you cook leafy greens and reheat them the next day? Write the real number in the comments, because most people do this completely innocently, and the innocence of it is exactly what makes it dangerous. The fix: eat your cooked greens cold. Cold-cooked spinach in a grain bowl, tossed in a salad, folded into a wrap. Every nutrient is still there. Zero nitrosamine formation, because there is no second heat. If you need them warm, cook only what you are eating right now. Not a batch for the week, just this meal. If you do reheat them, reheat once only. Each additional heating cycle multiplies a nitrosamine formation. That is not a metaphor, that is chemistry. Now, the third food, and this one I think is going to be the most shocking thing we cover today, because it is the most innocent-looking food in existence. No strong flavor, no strong smell, and the danger inside it cannot be detected by any of your senses. Snorts. Think about the pot of rice you made a few days ago. You made a large batch because it is easier that way. You have been reheating portions of it every day. This is completely normal. Every household on the planet does this. And hidden inside that rice, from the exact moment it stopped cooking and started cooling, a biological process has been quietly unfolding that most people have never once been warned about. I need to introduce you to a bacterium called Bacillus cereus. This organism is present in raw rice from any supermarket anywhere in the world. Cooking kills the active bacteria, but it does not kill the spores. A spore is a hardened biological survival structure that certain bacteria produce specifically to survive conditions that would kill them. Boiling water cannot destroy them. Normal cooking temperatures cannot touch them. They sit dormant in your perfectly cooked rice, completely invisible, completely undetectable by any smell or taste. Waiting for the temperature to drop into their ideal multiplication range, which is exactly the temperature of your kitchen counter as that rice cools after cooking. The moment the temperature drops, those spores wake up. They multiply, they produce toxins. And here is the detail that matters most. One of those toxins is heat stable. When you microwave that rice the next day, you killed the live bacteria. But the toxin they already produced while they were multiplying. Your microwave does not touch it. It survives the reheating completely intact and enters your body in full working order. Think of it like this. Imagine a factory producing toxic chemicals in your basement, without you knowing. You find out and shut it down. You turn off every machine, but the barrels already produced before you shut it down are still sitting there in the warehouse. Your microwave shuts down the factory, but the barrels are already in your bowl, and you are about to eat them. Now, here is the pancreas connection. Repeated low-level exposure to these toxins, even without dramatic full-blown food poisoning every time, creates chronic low-grade inflammation throughout your gut. And science has clearly mapped what researchers call the gut-pancreas axis. Your gut and your pancreas share blood supply, lymphatic drainage, and inflammatory signaling pathways. A chronically inflamed gut sends those inflammatory signals directly to your pancreas every time, without exception. How many days has the rice in your refrigerator been sitting there right now? 1 day, 3 days, a week? Comment the real number, because that number tells you exactly how much risk you have been quietly accepting the fix. Cool cooked rice within 1 hour of cooking. Spread it wide and shallow, not piled deep. More surface area means faster cooling. Faster cooling means less time for those spores to activate. Eat it within 24 hours. Reheat it fully until steaming hot throughout, then eat it completely. Do not put it back in the fridge after reheating once. These are not complicated rules. They are just rules most people have simply never been told. Now, the fourth food. Nearly every family eats this multiple times a week, and the danger here comes from a specific feature of one very common kitchen appliance that creates invisible pockets inside food that look perfectly safe from the outside. You made roasted chicken thighs last night. Golden, perfectly cooked all the way through. You save them in a container in the fridge. Today at lunch, you put 2 pieces on a plate, microwave them for 2 minutes, touch the outside, it feels hot, and you eat. This is a completely normal Tuesday in millions of homes. And the way that reheating happened, microwave, 2 minutes, touch check on the outside, is exactly where the danger lives. Here is something most people do not know. A microwave does not heat food the way an oven does. It excites water molecules inside the food to generate heat, but different parts of the same piece of chicken have different water content, different density, and different fat distribution. Some parts reach temperatures that kill bacteria. Other parts just centimeters away stay at exactly the temperature where bacteria not only survive, but actively multiply. These are called cold spots. You cannot see them. You cannot feel them from the outside. The outside can be scorching hot, while the center is sitting at the precise temperature that dangerous bacteria prefer. 2 bacteria make this specifically terrifying with chicken: Salmonella and Campylobacter. Both are present in raw poultry at very high rates. Proper initial cooking eliminates them, but recontamination after cooking is entirely possible on your hands, on the counter, on utensils. And those cold spots in your microwave reheated chicken are warm, moist, protein-rich environments, not death zones for bacteria. Incubators. A salmonella infection is not a mild afternoon of discomfort. It is a systemic biological event. High fever, violent cramping, sustained vomiting, and diarrhea. Your entire immune system mobilized for war, and while that war is happening in your gut, your pancreas is not watching from the sidelines. Snorts. It is pulled into the inflammatory response every single time. And here is what concerns me most as a doctor. Full dramatic food poisoning is not the only way this damages you. Repeated low doses, too small to knock you completely down, but enough to keep your gut in a state of low-grade chronic inflammation. Those are the exposures that accumulate quietly over years into conditions your pancreas simply cannot escape. Be completely honest right now. When you reheat chicken, do you verify it is steaming hot all the way through the thickest part, or do you touch the outside and assume the inside matches? That gap between assumption and reality is exactly where salmonella lives. The fix? Use the oven. 175 degrees Celsius covered tightly with foil for 15 to 20 minutes. The moist trapped heat reaches every part uniformly. No cold spots anywhere. If you must use a microwave, cut the chicken into small uniform pieces. Use medium, not maximum power. Stop halfway through and rearrange everything. Then let it rest covered for 2 full minutes after heating. Or eat it cold. Cold chicken shredded into a salad eliminates every single risk we just discussed. 0 reheating, 0 cold spots, 0 inflammatory cascade reaching your pancreas. Now we have reached the 5th and final food. And this one is unique because it carries not 1, but 2 completely separate chemical dangers happening at the exact same time. 2 different attacks on your pancreas from a single bowl of leftovers.